I wasn't sure how I was going to start the concert tonight. I'm a little bit less comfortable speaking than I am performing. But I went to Tokyo Mandarin, the Chinese restaurant in Glassboro here, as I do every Monday night. And I sat at the table they give me, because I sit by myself, and the waiter who waits on me every week said to me tonight, "You work at Rowan?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Are you a professor?" And I said, "Yes." And then he just stood there. And I said, "Why do you ask?" And he said, "Because you look like one." And I wasn't sure if he complimented me or was insulting me. So, because of that, I'm going to come out on stage tonight and I'm going to act like one. I'm going to do a little teaching. Percussion 101 is a concert that I have thought about for a long time, and it's a historic presentation. We're going to go through several hundred years of drum history tonight, and we are going to start with a piece called The Three Camps. The Three Camps was written around the time of the American Revolution, and the Three Camps was used to wake up soldiers on the battlefield. Before bugle calls of reveille, the one that we know from going to overnight camp and sometimes at Boy Scouts and whatnot, the drum was used to wake soldiers up. So if you can imagine a huge field like Valley Forge and soldiers sleeping all around, the three drummers, we're going to use more than three drummers tonight just because I have students who are capable and interested in this style of drumming that we call rudimental drumming. But they would position the drummers in three different places in the camp, and the first drummer would start, and then the second drummer would continue, and the third drummer would continue, and then at the end they would all join forces and play together, thus waking up the soldiers sleeping on a multi-thousand-acre battlefield. So I'm going to ask our drummers to come out tonight, and then I want to talk to you about these drums that we have, because I think you'll be interested to hear about them. So please come outside here. These drummers are using a variety of drums. You can see that three of the drums, Eric Carr here on the end, and Chris Cullen, two players down from him, and Kevin Edwards, two players down from him, are playing drums that are tuned with ropes. Interesting about these drums, the drum that Eric is playing, I treated myself to this drum when I met some people who work at the Cooperman Drum Company. At the time they were in Connecticut, and they make exact replicas of the drums used in George Washington's Continental Army. This drum, albeit an exact replica, if you get up close, you'll see that my name is on it. My name wasn't on those drums. I'm almost that old, but my name wasn't on those drums. And when I had it made, he asked me, "Do you want to have your name on it? It will diminish its collector's value." And I told him I didn't care about the collector's value. I was going to play on the drum and enjoy it. And when my son, who was also a percussionist, inherits it, he can cross out my name and put his name. The drum that Chris is playing is unfinished in the way that mine is. On my drum, you can see what is called the molar eagle. The molar eagle is the official emblem of the United States Army. And his drum is finished in a beautiful walnut without the eagle. The drum that Kevin Edwards is playing, two students down the line here, is from the American Civil War. That drum is not a replica. That drum saw action. and was restored by the people at the Cooperman Drum Company. These people are amazing craftsmen. The drum that Greg is playing right in between here is a brand new drum. We just bought it. We were very fortunate to have our Dean of our College of Fine and Performing Arts help us this year to buy some new instruments. We are greatly appreciative, and the students are enjoying it. This is a brand new concert field drum made by a Japanese drum company called Pearl. On the very end, Gavin McCauley is playing a drum that was made in 1890 by a drum maker named George B. Stone. If there are any drummers in the audience, everybody knows the Bible drum book that we all study is by George Lawrence Stone. George Lawrence Stone was the son of George B. Stone. To his left, Jaron Angid is playing a Leedy field drum made between 1900 and 1910. That drum I got in Rochester, New York when I was a student and needed jobs desperately, and I got a chance to play with the East Rochester Volunteer Fire Department Band. And they offered us $25 and hot dogs and beans after the parade. I marched in the parade and then went to the firehouse, and we saw up on top of the lockers, there were these old drums that had been spray painted red, and we asked if we could trade them the compensation for the drums. And they were happy to give us the old clunker drums, which they weren't using, and I refinished it, and it looks pretty much like it did when it came from the factory in early 1900, 1905 perhaps. The last drum that Anthony Graves is playing, he just did exactly what I did. A band director gave him a broken drum. He did all the work, stripped it, an act of love, refinished it, put brand new calfskin heads on. By the way, we're using skin heads on all of these old drums. So please enjoy our rendition of The Three Camps.